Alright guys, Fabian is going to be rolling into the meta in no time. I've already started to fight him a little bit, but as more and more people run up to the Minotaur, get his masteries, get his gear maxed out, he will be showing up a lot more often. So I'm going to go over some simple ways that you can counter him, and then some more endgame, more champion-dependent ways that you can counter this guy. We're going to start with the simple counters. Now these aren't things that are going to guarantee you a win, but the more of these that you can stack up, the harder it is going to be for the enemy Fabian to do his job against you. So the first thing I want to talk about is protected buffs. There are multiple ways that you can get these. You can run blessings like Lightning Cage, right? If we take a little look. Who do I have in Lightning Cage right now? UDK, right? We take a look. This guy is only 3-star. But even at 1-star, I believe it's going to be effective. Gains 1 Lightning Orb stack whenever an enemy receives a buff. So if your enemy gets a buff, boom, you get a Lightning Orb stack. Lightning Orb is a protected buff. What this is going to do is if Fabian tries to open with that A3, he will not get the extra turn because you have Lightning Orb up. This also works with Stone Skin. Stone Skin still only has that 50-50 chance to get stripped. So the more Stone Skin you have, if you don't want to go like a Lightning Cage route, you could also go Ward of the Fallen. But like, let's say hypothetically you're running a team of 3 or 4 Stone Skin champions. Well, your enemy is going to have to win each one of those coin flips, each one of those 50-50s to actually get that extra turn with Fabian. You still will get locked out unless you're Magic Affinity. Magic Affinity, again, is a way that you can counter this guy. You're just, at that point, you're just relying on weak hits. But you could go Magic Affinity and run Lightning Cage or Stone Skin on that champion. To me, I would get really frustrated if I had a team of 3 or 4 Stone Skins and he stripped all of them. It will happen sometimes. It's just down to RNG. That would really frustrate me. So I really like the Lightning Cage / Ward of the Fallen route. Another thing that you can do is run a champion, like a speed booster, with protection set. So for example, my Arbiter, she's rocking 5 pieces of protection. Now, the bottom 3 on the accessories are easy to get as long as you have the accessories. And then, of course, you do need a banner with speed, preferably, right? But once you get that, you just need to throw on one more piece of protection somewhere in these main 6 artifacts. I'm running the 5 pieces for that bonus 12% speed. But what this is going to do is, if I go before the Fabian and then somehow they cut in, at least there's a 25% chance that my Arbiter is putting up a protected increased attack on one of my champions. Again, slight counter to his A3, he will not get the extra turn, as long as there's a protected increased attack out there somewhere. He can still open with his fears, but at least this will stop him from either locking you out and fearing you. He's only going to be able to do one, because he's not going to get that extra turn. So at that point, he needs to decide, well, do I want to go with my A3, lock them out, and not get an extra turn? Or do I want to go with my A2 and just fear them right off the bat? Again, these are slight, small adjustments you can make your team to start. We will get into bigger counters at the end, but those will be more champion dependent. I've also got another good example, my Galathier right here. This can be any cleanser, right? You could run any cleanser, Pythion, Elva, Marishka. Doesn't even need to be a cleanser with block debuffs. Just a cleanser that brings some buffs in a protection set. High resistance is even better, so you can maybe resist that fear. But I've got basically the best of both worlds right here with Star Sage Galathier. I'm rocking 5-piece protection and 4-piece Stone Skin. So I've got Stone Skin, which he's hopefully not going to strip with his A3. Again, this is also stopping me from getting feared. My resistance is extremely low, but that doesn't really matter against Fabian that much, again, because we've got Stone Skin, so we can't fear me. I believe you cannot get petrified through Stone Skin either. I don't think that's a thing. I think Stone Skin stops all crowd control debuffs other than Sheep. So basically, if Fabian were to open with the A2 and fear my team, my Galathier, again, this could be an Elva, this could be a Python, it doesn't have to be Galathier. My Cleanser can open up with, for example, Galathier right here, could open with his A2 and clean the fear right off my team. Boom, fear doesn't matter. And even better if he opens up with the fear and then I land protected block debuffs through the protection set. Now, he lands his fears, he circles back around, takes his turn, does his lockout, and he's not going to get an extra turn because I've got, hopefully, a protected block debuffs on somebody. And then if he decides to open with a lockout instead of opening with the fear, yeah, my Galathier is probably going to get locked out and he won't be able to cleanse the team. But he doesn't get that extra turn with the A3, so he's not going to be able to lock me out and fear me in basically the same go. He's going to have to cycle all the way back around to another turn. Hopefully, if he's in one turn Stone Skin, it's fallen off by then, and like my Siegfried or my really good damage dealer can just kill him with an A1 at that point because we're locked out. If we actually take a look at Fabian, I think the Wand of Submission would work against him. We are going to all probably be getting that soon from Community Day. We will be able to vote on a relic, and based on the relics that we can vote for, Wand of Submission is the best in my opinion. So I'm assuming we're all going to get a Wand of Submission. When that comes out, it does read like you will be able to reflect True Fear onto Fabian. Now let me explain why. So let's just say Fabian comes in there, he lands his A2 on your team, and your True Fear is your team. The way that it reads with his passive is that you can still reflect the True Fear, it will just get cleansed. So he does the True Fear, you reflect it with Wand of Submission, and again, just a chance, just RNG, but you know, the more of this that you can have on your team, the better. So this reads, removes any stun, freeze, sleep, provoke, fear, True Fear, and petrification debuffs from this champion before the start of their turn. So the way that this reads to me is that I can actually throw the fear back at him, and it will sit on him. Like that fear is still going to be on him, but when he takes his turn, the fear is just going to fall right off. That's the way it reads, right? It doesn't read like fear just can't be landed. No, fear gets landed, it just gets removed from him once he takes his turn. So as far as I'm concerned, I can reflect it, and then it doesn't matter if it's going to fall off. At least now it's not on my champion, and he's still going to sit there with it as his turn meter fills up. Then once he takes his turn, it's going to fall off. That's the way that it reads. If that's not how it works in practice, please let us know down in the comments. But as far as I'm concerned, you can still get fear on this guy. It will just be cleaned off as soon as he takes his turn. You can also run Polymorph. Really simple. Just throw the Polymorph Blessing on a champion that has accuracy. If it's a 6-star Polymorph Blessing, you don't need accuracy. But you can just hope to get lucky and Polymorph this guy. He could be built in Pinpoint, right? But we're not thinking too far ahead. We're not thinking of the counters to the counters. There's so many Fabian builds out there. You've got people like me going with Feral. You've got people going Pinpoint. You've got people going Stone Skin. You've got people going Supersonic. You've got people going full speed, full accuracy, or a combination of those. There's so many different Fabian builds. Yeah, they could have Pinpoint. Yeah, they could resist a sheep that way. It's just how it's going to be sometimes. We're not really too concerned about the counters to the counters in this video. Again, you could run sheep and they could have Wand of Submission. You have no way of knowing that. But just the more that you have in your favor, the better. So Wand of Submission and sheep are the next two kind of easy-ish ones. You do also have blessings like Harmonic Impulse, but honestly, I mean, 6-star Harmonic Impulse is the only point where it kind of becomes decent in my opinion. And at that point, I think just run 6-star sheep, right? You do run the risk of getting Wand of Submission, but I mean, 6-star sheep is way more relevant in way more fights than I think Harmonic Impulse is. That's just my opinion, though. Maybe unless you're using like a champion you use in Arena and Hydra, then maybe Harmonic Impulse is the way to go, but I don't think so. Again, we talked about having a high resistance or a Stone Skin cleanser. He fears your team, your cleansers and Stone Skin, boom, fears right off, you're good. So that is an option as well. There are some relics that kind of counter lockout, mainly the Hand of Uncreation from the Chimera set, and then there is a mythical relic that when you go below 15% HP, you get all your skills back. I don't want to consider those, but they're worth mentioning, at least if you have it. The mythical one where you need to lose HP, to me it's too, like, I don't know, it's too dependent on you need to get smacked really hard. At that point, you need like a Cheshire Cat or a Siegfried that has a passive to keep them alive. That way you get your skills back and you get a turn from it, hopefully. But, you know, it's at least worth mentioning. And then again, the Hand of Uncreation, actually, I don't believe has a 100% chance to stop you from getting locked out. And then we did touch on Affinity. Just want to mention it one more time. You could be running lots of Magic champions. Magic damage dealers are usually pretty popular. Armand's a Magic champion, so he might just weak hit you and not land the lockout. That is worth considering as well. It's something really easy that hopefully you can just throw into your team. I know Thor was a fusion, so maybe if you're in like middle level Live Arena where Thor is still kind of a decent nuker in Live Arena, you can go with that. Up at the top level, I almost never see Thor's just because he has almost no survivability in his kit, but worth mentioning. Those Magic champions. And then some other really easy counters that I probably don't even have to say, but I'm just going to throw them in real quick anyway. You could always ban the guy, right? Pretty obvious, I know, didn't have to say it, but you can always ban the guy. And as well, if someone has like a lower level account than you, you can try and make your best estimated guess on, hey, I'm level 100, that guy's level 90, he probably hasn't farmed as much dragon as me, therefore my speed gear's probably better, I'm probably going to go first. So that's just an example. You know, you could both be level 100 and you could just have better speed champions. Like he could pick Arbiter and you pick Shuzen and Sify, and you could just assume, I'm probably going to go first, so I don't need to worry too much about Fabian. I'm going to outspeed him and nuke him. So outspeeding a Fabian is something you can do as well. And outspeeding a Fabian shouldn't be insanely difficult if you're putting your best speed gear on a champion that doesn't necessarily need accuracy. Because Fabian, you need to get speed and accuracy on him, which isn't insanely hard to do. It's only 2 stats, But still, a champion that's just going full 100% speed, doesn't care about anything else, will usually be faster than someone like this who's kind of looking for 2 stats. A good example of that is like Arbiter or Shuzen. Arbiter, you could build a little bit of accuracy, but most of the time people don't. If you're just running like full speed on Arbiter or full speed on Shuzen, they should outspeed a Fabian. He needs more stats than they do, so he's usually going to be slower. But again, that all depends on like accounts and gear and stuff like that. But you make the best judgment in your fight. Your judgment may be right, you may win. Your judgment may be wrong, you may lose. But hey, you know what? Sometimes just going with your gut can win you some battles. So those 2 were kind of obvious, but I figure they're worth mentioning just in case you've got no better way and you're like, you know what? This fight, I'm just going to trust my gut. Sometimes that might work for you. So those, in my opinion, are like the really easy counters. We're about to get into like more champion-specific counters. You might have some of these champions. Stick around and find out. But just to kind of summarize what we just talked about, just things that you can go change right away on your team. Throw a Cleanser in Stone Skin. Throw a couple champions in Lightning Cage. Throw a couple champions in Sheep. Make sure you've got Wand of Submission on a couple of your champions. If you have it, a lot of you probably don't have it. I don't have Wand of Submission. But Lightning Cage and Stone Skin are probably like the 2 quickest, easiest semi-counters this guy. Again, the more of these that you actually have on your team, the harder it is for Fabian to do his job. None of these are going to guarantee you a win, but they're going to make Fabian's life harder, which is what you want. Okay, so more champion-specific counters. You could run a like super fast protection set, Siffy. Siffy, I think in a protection set is a really, really good counter to this guy. You get a protected block debuffs up. Usually you're going to be faster. I mean, Siffy is going to be faster than Fabian unless your Siffy's built terribly, which could happen, or unless you're fighting like the top player in the world and they've got the fastest freaking Fabian ever. But 99% of the time, Siffy's are going to be faster than Fabians. If you've got, 4 pieces or 6 pieces or 9 pieces of protection, hopefully you get some of those protected block debuffs up. And now, not only can he not strip you, but he won't get the extra turn. He may still strip some buffs, the buffs that aren't protected, but hopefully, if you're in like 9-piece protection, 75% chance to protect your buffs. Hopefully at least a couple of those block debuffs are protected, so he could still lock you out, but he's not getting an extra turn, and then he can't place these fears because you've got block debuffs on your entire team. You could also apply this logic to a fast Galathier, a fast Elva. Siffy's kind of the best because she's usually just built faster than Elvas and Galathiers and stuff like that, or a fast Pytheon. Again, the fast Pytheon's not really a thing that you see, but it could work at like middle level live arena. Just a super fast champion in a protection set that can put up a block debuffs. Now he can't fear you. Now he's forced to go with the lockout. And he's not going to get his extra turn because you got a protected block debuffs up there. Or at least a protected buff in general. And then again, we already talked about like protection set on the Arbiter. That can work as well. Another thing you could do is have a cooldown resetting champion. So a Kymar, a Yumeko, a Crixia. Crixia is probably the best because if she gets locked out in her first form, she just swaps forms and then gives you your skills back. Crixia the best, but she is a mythical. I do recognize that. Kymar's been in the game forever, so maybe a lot of you guys have Kymar. You could run a high resistance Kymar. I don't have Kymar or Yumeko or Crixia, so I'm kind of screwed in that department. But at least for you guys, you can run high resistance on those champions. The thing is, though, you kind of want accuracy with Kymar and Yumeko. That's what makes Crixia really the best choice, because she just swaps forms, and boom, your skills are back. But, high resistance Kymars are a thing. Kymar also has a really good arena aura, so high resistance Kymar could be a solid strat. I guess another one that's worth mentioning is like a high resistance Lammasu. High resistance super fast, I guess kind of like how you would maybe build a Siffy or a high resistance Kymar. The thing is, at that point, you'd kind of be using her in arena like a Shuzen, so I don't think she'd work in other areas in like Chimera and stuff like that. But you could do that with a Shuzen. She does have this A3 that fills turn meter, puts intercept up, and resets the cooldown of their skills. So if she's in high resistance and Fabian doesn't lock her out, maybe she's in supersonic with high resistance, she cuts in after the Fabian, she didn't get locked out, she boosts like your nuker, let's just say Siegfried because that's who I use as a nuker, right? She boosts your Siegfried's turn meter by 50% and he gets his skills back and he gets intercept, which is nice too. So now he's kind of safe from the fear next turn, but hopefully he just comes in there and one-shot the team. So you could do a high resistance Lammasu. All of us are going to have Lammasu eventually, so if you really hate Fabian that much, you could dedicate your Lammasu to like a Shuzen high resistance cooldown resetter type build, if that makes sense. Hopefully that was like a mouthful. Holy cow. Just go like full speed and full resistance. At that point, you're not worried about accuracy on her kit, which might actually be a good thing because you're not going to get polymorphed, hopefully, unless you just get like a lucky 3% or your enemy doesn't have resistance like at all on their stuff. But yeah, you could go like full resistance, full speed, especially if like a Righteous Forge pass comes around. And at that point, like I said, you reset the skills of your nuker, you boost their turn meter by 50%, they smack the enemy team, hopefully they kill everybody. So that is a strategy as well, and we all will have this chick eventually. So that one is worth mentioning. A little more niche for sure. But it could work, and we're all gonna have this chick. Well, guys, I think that about covers it for the Fabian counters. Just quick touch on Inquisitor Shamal. Don't do it. Bad idea. Unless you're in low-level live arena, maybe mid-level live arena. I haven't been to mid-level in a while, so I don't know what it's like down there. But I mean, picking Inquisitor Shamal is just gonna handicap you so much. I mean, yeah, you pick Inquisitor, and yeah, now he can't use his A2 because Inquisitor cleanses it and smacks him a bunch. But he's still a lockout champion, right? So you've basically just picked an epic that doesn't do much in arena other than counter, you know, 1/3 of his kit. Maybe 2/3 of it if you consider the fear on the A1. But even that's a stretch, right? So you pick this epic that's really not doing much for your team, and you're still just fighting a lockout champion. He's basically like a Yumeko that can weak hit at that point. So I still think you're at a huge disadvantage if you go Inquisitor Shamal. I don't think that's a good idea. That's just my opinion, though. Maybe you have success with it. If you do, let me know down below. As well as if I miss anything, please let us know down below. I'm just one guy. I'm not the best PvPer in the world. I don't have every champion in the world. Just using the knowledge I have to try and give you guys some quick, easy ways to hopefully deal with this guy. We did touch on some kind of heavier, more endgame, more champion-related stuff at the end. But just trying to do my best to help you guys out. So really, if you have any tips for me or for anybody else, please leave them in the comments. All right, let's all learn how to counter this guy. Again, I'm just one dude trying to do the best that I can for a game that I love, for a community that I love. So if you know something that I don't, or I forgot something, definitely let me know down below. But guys, that's going to do it out there. Give it like 2 weeks, give it like a month until everybody gets this guy built, and get ready for Wand of Fabian Warfare. It's going to be absolutely crazy out there. Armands versus Fabian versus Wand of Submission. Oh my lord. There's probably going to be some balancing coming in, or there's going to be some champions coming out, and Plarium's going to sell the solution. Because I have a feeling that this meta in about a month is going to be the most chaotic, unfun meta we've ever seen. Not that that's necessarily Fabian's fault. I think really the Wand of Submission and not being able to see it on champions is the problem. But that's a video for another time. So I will see you guys in the next video. Again, you got tips, leave them down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.